Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Komorebi. Uh, we last left off. We had the riveting end of the Rebels and Rebels campaign, and this is probably going to be the second to last episode. And yeah, we're gonna get into it. Man.
Experience supplemental fragment. Leadership theories.
Here we go. This is all you do left. These three fragments, Kyron's Heart to Heart, and these two. What's going to be in store for us? Also, I sound tired. I kind of am.
So, I've been thinking.
About what?
Taylor's thinking again.
The leader of Argus.
Oh, same.
Yeah, it's really intriguing.
Who do you think it is?
It's hard to say. I heard they weren't even a real person. Some people are saying that Argus is run by an AI.
That's a stupid theory.
How's it stupid?
How's it not?
You can't just flip around my question and ask it back to me.
That's just Dante.
Why can't I?
Oh my god.
It's cheating.
I've heard about that theory, actually. But I'm pretty sure that's impossible.
How so?
What makes you think that?
Well, Cypher has been up against Argus for years. The way that Argus responds to things is definitely real. An AI would be a lot more cold and calculated.
You mean more cold than letting people starve to death?
Unfortunately, yeah. I'm not really sure how to explain it, though.
Feel free to give it a shot. I mean, you're the leading expert here.
Well, let's see. We're people. We make mistakes, right? Everything we do is just what we think is the best. An AI can think through every possible permutation of every possible situation. And not only that, but it'd follow through with swift, definitive action. The things that have been happening don't come across that way. We can sense a hesitation that wouldn't be there otherwise, like a person being faced with difficult decisions.
I guess that makes sense.
Unless the AI just wants to trick us, right?
Eh.
If it knew we suspected it, it could act accordingly.
Now you're just being paranoid.
Trust me, it's not just now.
Well, if it's not an AI, then what is it?
I think you mean who.
Right.
Most people believe that Argus is a family business, so it's probably in the hands of the founder's child or grandchild.
And that's what you believe too?
Yeah.
Wow. Imagine if your grandparents created Argus and the system. All that responsibility passed down through the generations.
That kind of sucks.
More like forced down, but it's a pretty fitting punishment if you ask me.
Fitting how?
Suffering for the choices of those that came before you, that's basically the fate of every single Zero. It's pretty poetic that the Argus family would suffer the same way. Whoever's in charge right now, it was a choice made for them.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. A lot of us are just around for the ride these days.
Hey, is that a shot at me?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Wait a minute. You
What?
said it could be their grandkid, right?
Yeah.
That means they could be around our age.
It's a very real possibility.
Can you imagine being under that kind of pressure?
That would be the worst job ever. Running the world yet barely knowing anything about it?
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Just like any other politician, if you ask me. All they want is a few extra zeros in their bank account.
I think you're all missing the main point here.
Gonna enlighten us?
Well, whoever it is, they're just a normal person. They won't live up to the mystery that precedes them.
Yeah, just some normal Joe.
Because how could they? Their identity is one of the biggest secrets in the world. No matter who shows up, those shoes will never be filled.
That's fair.
So we should just lower our expectations.
I find that helps with most things in life. Besides, it's a big deal to appear right now. Public opinion is at an all-time low, and then there's those deaths. There's always a chance that they might apologize. Maybe they'll even take accountability for everything.
That sounds extremely doubtful.
Extremely.
I guess we just have to wait and see.
That's all we really can do.
Yeah. Only 4 more days. Then this all comes to an end.
4 more days. But actually, it's like 2 days. Ah, my eye is killing me. Alright.
Experience supplemental fragment. Day drinking.
We're drinking again. Isn't it all we did since getting here was drinking?
Hey, Isaac,
What's up?
there's something I've been meaning to ask.
Go for it.
Well, you always say that day drinking is better,
Well, it is.
but you've never elaborated on it.
And give away my secret?
What secrets?
I'm just gonna search this up online and get it over with.
Moments pass.
So, turns out, you're just an alcoholic.
What? Not even?
Want to tell us the secret then?
I don't know.
I can't help with this one. We've only been drinking at night.
And did you feel it the next day?
A hangover? You could say that, yeah?
Mine was pretty bad after the nightclub, too.
Wait a minute.
I think you're starting to get it.
That's all it was?
Huh, I never said it was a life-changing secret.
Wait, I'm confused. What is it?
If you drink during the day, you don't get a hangover.
Yep. You get to enjoy the high without the low. It's just a habit I picked up with work so it doesn't interfere. A hangover is a surefire way to destroy your productivity.
Huh. But is there a train going through right now? I hope you guys don't hear it. I swear to God.
So, Argus drove you to alcoholism.
To day drinking, actually. It's not as uncommon as you'd think.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. What about people who work overnight? If they only have spare time during the day, are they alcoholics?
I guess not.
Exactly. Time is relative. Why not prefer the method without a hangover?
Is he projecting his denial onto us?
Not really. He kinda has a point. If I could get rid of hangovers, I'd do it.
I guess start day drinking then.
Exactly. You've just been conditioned to drink at night.
Wait, I actually read about this. In ancient times, tyrants would reward slave workers with beer. It pacified them and made them less inclined to fight back.
Really?
Well, that's what the theories say. Kinda makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Shut up, Trey! Dante, you and your theories. Like, it's like every single damn piece of conversation. It's just like, I have a theory.
About what?
Argus does make booze cheap and easily available.
Oh?
You mean they're just trying to keep us in line?
Maybe. Who knows?
I really hope we don't get a train. It's hootin' tootin'.
If they are, though, it certainly works.
certainly works. Yeah, because we've been drinking beer pretty much non-stop this entire move. To the point where it's questionable at best.
Experience supplemental fragment. One last hurrah.
One last hoorah. Hoorah. One last hurrah. Please don't be anything. Okay, we're still in the hotel room. It's the 4th.
You all ready?
For what?
One last hurrah before tomorrow? I ordered some food and drinks to the room.
Ooh, anything good?
You'll just have to wait and see.
You know, I'm kind of scared.
Why's that?
Everything comes to an end tomorrow. Isn't anyone else a little worried?
Yeah, like a little bit.
Not really. I've never been more confident in my life. You'll all be fine. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Infiltrating Argus's HQ. Yeah, the definition of safe.
I have a plan, Dante. You just have to wait until tomorrow to see it.
Fine. What's it look like in there anyway? For some reason, I imagine it's really extra.
Probably just some, like, everyday... It looks like some everyday common office.
I only saw it for the first time at my interview. It's pretty majestic. Probably cost hundreds of millions.
Or it's what Isaac said.
Well, if anyone could afford it, I guess it'd be them.
They have that much money? You must be rich working for them.
We're not really supposed to talk about salary.
Why not?
You know, I never understood that rule. Don't talk about how much money you make.
Well, it's pretty personal information.
Not really.
Is it, though?
I talk about my money on stream all the time. My numbers are public too, so everybody knows. You're all just falling for a corporate lie.
A what now?
You're not the one who wants to keep it a secret, Isaac. Argus probably taught you that it's sensitive information. And you want to know why?
Enlighten me.
If you don't talk about your salary, then there's no drama. I guarantee you make more than someone else with the same job. And if you were all open about it, everyone would be asking for a raise.
That can't be true.
He might be onto something, Isaac. I was told not to talk about my royalties or advances.
And I was told not to talk about how much my music deals are worth.
See what I mean? I'm the only one with freedom, and all my numbers are public. It doesn't cause conflict, though. It makes people strive to work harder. I mean, if I can earn that much, well, so can everybody else.
I guess I see what you mean.
You still don't have to tell us, Isaac.
You know, back on the colony, we were pretty open about what we made. It's kind of like Taylor says, work harder and you end up making more. Wouldn't be fair to pay someone less for the same job, but they ask you to keep quiet about it so they can get away with it? Oof, that's rough, man.
I'm still not gonna tell you. It's probably in my contract.
Was it an NDA type of thing?
Yeah, that's how I know about it. Mine had a clause like that as well.
It's weird how much control they have without us even realizing. They can just tell us something is bad and we'll believe it.
But it's only to protect them, just like how they taught you the zeros were bad.
I wonder what else there is.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow, right? Seems like the 5th will change everything.
Yeah, the 5th will be insane. Hopefully not for the worse.
Experience pivotal fragment. Rebels and Revels. Aftermath.
Aftermath? We're still going Rebels and Rebels? I'm guessing it's like the whole game's reaction to it. Your failures should inspire you rather than hold you back. I'm guessing it's us talking about the campaign. We all sit around the table, exchanging satisfied glances. I guess that was the end of our campaign. At least our little test campaign.
Well, what'd you think?
I'm impressed. but I thought you wanted to avoid a cliffhanger.
Exactly! Exactly! That's the exact same point I was saying in the last episode. Thank you, Dante.
No, it wasn't that bad. Besides, we answered a major question, so for me, that's enough resolution.
Yeah, but it's still kind of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that was a pretty good finale. Definitely fit the tone and style of everything.
Nice little twist at the end, too. I mean, my father was the leader of the Thorns.
I thought I'd triple down on the irony. Gotta feel bad for your character, though.
Well, he did what he had to do. It's like he always does. At least now he has closure on something that haunted him forever.
It's kind of cool how this all lined up with our own world, too.
How so?
Well, our rebellion took down the Triumvirate, right? They were clearly evil, so we changed the world for the better. But there was a power struggle between us and the Thorns. If we continue the story, I imagine they'd be the first of many.
Oh, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, exactly. If we treat Argus like the Triumvirate, the result could be the same. Competitors will rise up, taking advantage of the gap in power.
That's the most realistic outcome, yeah. But I imagine in our world, the competition won't be as underhanded.
Or as violent, hopefully.
Or that. We'll probably just see new companies rise up, each one with their own unique identity and benefits, but they'll all be tied to the system, not just Argus.
Do you think Argus is using the system to their own end?
If they were, it was probably in the name of the greater good. Even I agree that Komorebi requires some level of social control. But not nearly as much as they've led us to believe. They're using fear of the unknown as a weapon.
And it was working, too.
I'm loving all these parallels between real life and our campaign. Makes it seem like Taylor actually took time to plan all this.
Nah.
Of course I did. Remember, you baited me into doing this. If I let down the storyteller of the group, I'd be crushed.
Yeah, Dante brought up the idea of making the campaign.
Yeah, you did a good job. Even connected Isaac's backstory to the overall narrative.
Is there a term for that?
It's just called connecting plot threads. It makes the conclusion a lot more satisfying. Without a strong foundation, everything just falls apart.
And calling them threads is a metaphor, right?
Kinda. You want all your threads to be as strong as possible. We all know what happens when you tug on a loose one.
Everything falls apart.
It's pretty cool when you think about it, right? Isaac is part of a rebellion, just like the characters in our campaign were. And because we've got his back, we're members too.
Us? Agents of Cypher?
Yeah, for longer than we thought.
Nah.
Sorry for not telling you sooner.
You say we're agents of Cypher, but I'm gonna say we're unwilling accomplices.
Yeah.
That makes it sound so boring. We can help Isaac change the world here.
And if we fail?
Well,
We've come too far to fail. If we were gonna lose, it would have been ages ago.
Probably as soon as he applied Kyron's identity to that phone.
Yeah, that was the riskiest part.
You mean whatever you're planning at their HQ isn't risky?
Oh, it definitely is. Just not as much as you'd think. It's been smooth sailing so far, and I aim to keep it that way.
If you say so.
If you're starting to doubt things, just look at the town square.
What about it?
Complete unity. City folk have started feeding and hanging out with the Zeros. Both sides are now part of the protest.
yeah, I'd say Argus is kind of screwed here.
And what is Argus doing about it?
yeah.
Nothing. Everyone was worried about stepping in and getting in trouble, but it's not happening. So it's just inspiring more people to help. Our entire journey so far has been filled with worry. Sure, but it was always worry about what could happen. It's never been based on what has happened. And each day that passes, more stuff keeps happening. Our concerns have been put to rest almost every single day. So it's time to start basing our thoughts on reality. We can't let them use fear of the unknown against us. Remember, that's always been their most valuable weapon.
You have a point.
Wow, what a speech. Maybe we should have made you the monarch.
Hey,
Oh, I'd definitely rock that crown.
we all smile as the time of the campaign comes to an end. But with it came striking similarities to our current situation. Similarities that fill me with resolve rather than fear. I remember thinking up similarities when we first started. But back then, so much was uncertain. It's impressive how far we've come in such a short time. Isaac telling us about his link to Cypher seemed to unite us even more. I gotta say, being an agent of Cypher sounds pretty awesome. We're gonna witness the end of Argus's monopoly and the aftermath. If Cypher is like the rebellion, then they rise up after all this ends. If only Dante knew how much irony was behind his statement. Isaac should be the monarch? Well, he technically was. He's running Cypher much like how I ran the rebellion and the monarchy. And just like me, he was uniquely qualified to take on the task. His entire life has led up to this Sunday. Thankfully, there's no one I trust more than him. Especially when it came to bringing us a better future. Save for the sequel. Finish the Rebels and Rebels storyline. One more journal. What we got for us, Delta? You silly Billy.
View which journal entry?
AKA Hermes Day. Sunday, January 5th, 2042. Living life for the future instead of the present. Normally that would describe all my friends, but lately it's described me, my relationship, my memories at the end of... But lately it's described me and my relationship... But lately it's described me in my relationship, my memories. At the end of the day, our own experiences are the most valuable things in the world. Feelings that belong to you and nobody else. At least that's how things were supposed to be. Just like Komorebi disturbed the natural order of things, it seems like this new nostalgia technology may do the same thing. We will either become prisoners to our own past, addicted to reliving our highlights over and over, or start to turn other people's lives into a commodity, a story, to be bought and sold. I didn't expect to have you all on for the ride, but I guess some of the biggest moments in life are unexpected, right? Do you know how sometimes you can sense someone's true nature? Like, just spending a second with somebody can tell you all you need to know? That kind of happened with you. No matter what, I could tell that your intentions aren't bad in any way. Argus is playing some sort of four-dimensional chess here, aren't they? As if Komorebi and the system aren't enough of a nuisance. They're discovering new ways to control us. If this nostalgia technology comes to fruition, we'll never know which moment in time could be used against us in the future. At least now we know it's only when we leave the house, and stuff like that. With this new tech, most people will spend every second of every day regulating their lives, making pure memories. I feel like that may be their end goal. Either way, we're about to find out. We're in this together now. Just like me and my friends promised each other at the start of this. Until the end. Up there, Delta. Pure memories. Alright.
Experience. Heart-to-heart fragment. Kyron 4.
The last two fragments. This happened the first. Once again, Kyron requests some alone time with me. I didn't have any plans for the rest of the day, so I quickly agree. He stares out the window, taking in the view with a look of awe on his face.
Still can't get over how beautiful this city is. Kinda makes you forget how unforgiving it can be.
He places his hand on the glass.
You know, the others keep staring at me. I can tell they're concerned for me after what happened. It's understandable. but honestly, I'm doing fine.
I step toward the window and stand beside him.
As always, you're the only exception. That's part of why I feel comfortable around you. Of course, New Year's Eve definitely helped. Don't worry, we'll get to finish what we started.
He smiles at me and then looks out the window once more.
I still need to ask Isaac about my parents, though. Other things have just taken priority since then.
That's for sure.
It's only been a day, but I'm still feeling impatient. Have you ever felt like you had to know something?
Of course, it's only natural.
Well, take that feeling and multiply it by a million. It's like the one fact that will make my life whole. Who were they? What did they want to run from?
I shrug. It's almost impossible for me to tell. However, I doubt that the truth will make his life whole. We always want and treasure what we can't obtain. I do hope he's able to find out the answer, though. Even if the answer is likely to be underwhelming. But if anybody can help him out, it'd be Isaac. Or Hermes, if we're getting technical.
If we're going to Argus's HQ, I'll ask him beforehand. That'll be my first and probably only chance. If I start to get too nervous, maybe you can help me out. I wouldn't want to miss an opportunity like this.
I nod. Of course I'll help him out.
I'm surprised we're doing this, by the way, but if Isaac thinks it'll go well, then I do too. He's never let me down, and I doubt he'll start now. Not when things are more important than ever.
He turns to face me.
I wish I could tell him to stop staring, though. It's starting to make me all self-conscious. I guess your friends think that those deaths hit me hard. It's reasonable to assume that, but honestly, I don't care.
Does they care? That seems a little cold.
People die all the time on the colonies. It's a harsh life out there. And even more people die in the city every day. Do you put your life on pause for all of them?
I guess he has me there. But I remember he told me that people in the colony are like family. I can't help but wonder if he's trying to be strong or experiencing denial.
Sometimes you just can't afford to mourn. On the colony, when somebody dies, there's a labor gap. We need to work harder, make sure nothing gets disrupted. That's probably why we've romanticized the stars. We can just pay our respects before passing out after work. Anyway, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. I just mean to say that those deaths didn't hurt me. In fact, I think I share the same mentality as everybody else. The deaths only serve to dig a deeper grave for Argus. And in that case, is it truly a loss? Or is it something that guaranteed our victory?
I imagine it could be both.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe that comes after we win. If we stop to cry right now, we'd sabotage our efforts, just like on the colony. We can't waste time mourning. We need to do it when the time is right. If we didn't have to stick by Isaac's side, I'd be out there, helping. I could buy food for the Zeros and help them last until Sunday. We're really lucky that the others have started to step in. Well, looks like we're on the same page as them for once. Survive until the 5th. That's all we have to do, right?
I nod. Then Hermes can carry out whatever his plan is.
So, I say, we enjoy ourselves in the meantime.
He grabs the collar of my shirt and pulls me in for a kiss. Our lips lock together once more, just like on New Year's Eve. Taking the initiative, he starts stepping forward, making me step backwards. I eventually hit the bed and fall back onto it, looking up at Kyron. He smirks and gets on top of me, sitting in my lap.
Well, I did say we get to finish what we started, right?
He places a hand on my shoulder, pinning me down to the bed. Leaning forward, we start to kiss again, and again, and again. Using his free hand, I feel him start to undo his belt. I feel him slide it off and throw it on the hotel room floor. A second later, he pulls back, breaking the kiss. I stare up at him and he gives me a sly smirk.
One sec.
He reaches up to his collar and starts to take it off, just like his belt. After a brief struggle, it comes loose. Throwing it aside, it hits the ground with a loud thud. Then, a second later, we're kissing again. I run my hands along his body and bring him up to the top of his vest. As we make out, I slowly slide down his shoulders and help him take it off. He did say he looked better about it, didn't he? I guess it was time for me to find out. Okay, I thought it was gonna show something real quick. I thought it was gonna show. Okay, that's good at least. All right, I must have dozed off. My eyes slowly open. Rolling over in the bed, I notice Kyron standing at the window. He's dressed again, collar and all. He must hear the rustling in the sheets, and he turns to look.
Hey, Delta. Come over here, won't you?
I shake my head, warding off any fatigue before getting out of bed. With a soft smile, I approach him. Our bond is different now, and I'm definitely not complaining.
You know, I never used to climb those trees on my own.
Huh? That came out of nowhere?
That might be the real reason why I'm unaffected by all this. If anybody needs help right now, it's that poor kid.
Right. He's now an orphan, but the Zeros seem like family. There was no shortage of support and sympathy on display in the town square.
Let's just say I know what they're going through. You take a look, you can see them pretty clearly.
I look out the window. We have a nice view of the town square. We're not too high up, so I can make out all their faces. Sure enough, the child is there, surrounded by other Zeros.
I think that's the only thing that can help with grief. The sympathy of others who have experienced it as well. And experience it I have.
I place my hand on his shoulder and give it a couple of consoling pats.
Right, about climbing those trees. His name was, well, it's not important. Just know that he was basically my best friend. When we finished work, we'd sneak away from the colony. And like you could probably guess, we practiced climbing. He was at my side when I got the first glimpse of the city. God, I was addicted to it. And I asked him to go back with me almost every night. It was how we bonded. Our shared desire to call the city home. I didn't mention him because I was scared of opening up to you. You know how cold my shoulder was at the start of all this, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like I was lying to you. It's more like I was lying to myself. I wish I never took him up there with me.
Huh?
I know I called him my best friend, but it started to turn into something more than that. We shared our first kiss up there, and a special pledge.
Aww. He scoffs and tugs at his collar.
The promise that one day we'd live in the city together. It was pretty romantic, even if my vision told me it would never happen, but when your Komorebi is bad, sometimes denial is part of the package.
He walks away from the window, and I follow him to the center of the room.
It's a pretty strenuous workout climbing those trees, and without gear, a bad fall could really do some damage.
Oh.
I'm sure you can figure out the rest. After that, he couldn't really walk anymore.
Oh.
Which means he couldn't contribute to the colony. And with how our pay works, that's a death warrant. I tried my hardest, but I couldn't work enough for 2 people. If I kept splitting my food with him, we'd both starve. So he asked me to stop. And I couldn't exactly say no.
I can sense his sadness, and he's trying not to cry. His ability to remain composed in the face of this is admirable.
So it's not the first time I've watched a Zero starve. What I saw in the town square was really nothing new. But you know what? Whether it was my friend or that kid's parents, we can make sure this is the last time. So that's why I'm not sad. I'm hopeful. Hopeful because for the first time it seems like our struggle is over. And if I keep this collar on, then it's like he's right here with me. All of a sudden, the pledge wasn't as far-fetched as I thought. Anyway, thanks for listening to me, Delta. I hate to ramble, but I thought it was pretty important. In the face of these losses, I can't help but feel optimistic. And it's a lot better to share optimism than grief. If all those Zeros got phones, you'll make a lot more friends. And those 2 people that died will go down in history forever. We all knew there was a chance that we'd die, but we were satisfied because we die fighting for our beliefs. And look, now almost the entire world shares those beliefs.
He smiles and playfully nudges my shoulder.
Must have felt nice to be ahead of the curve, huh? You got front row seats to witness everything change. And on Sunday, we might even play a part in all of it.
He tilts his head toward the hotel room door.
Let's get back to the group, though. I think that's all I really needed to talk about. And once again, you keep on proving that you're the cool one.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind if we spend more time like this together.
If we get more time. I want all the time I can get with you. With another smile, we leave the room together. I'm really glad that you chose to open up to me like that. I knew I wanted my friends to share their stories, so this is great. By the time I paid a visit to Argus, I know everything there was to know. And then, in that HQ, I'd gain even more valuable memories. Especially since I get to witness the master plan of Hermes firsthand. I'm filled with both excitement and overly cautious optimism. My goal was now to use my memories in a strategic fashion. To prove the worth of my friends and the worthlessness of Argus. And simply hope that I make it through this unscathed. Front row seats. Experience heart-to-heart Kyron 4. Man. Okay. Kyron is the most forward. He is like the most forward.
Experience pivotal fragment. Possibilities.
Last fragment. Second to last fragment, technically. Learning to take your own advice is the greatest strength of all. Unless your advice sucks. We all sit back in the hotel room, trying to relax. This might be the last time we get to do this. It's the real calm before the storm. Thankfully, we've made it this far without any hiccups. And tomorrow, everything would come to an end. Hopefully, in our favor, but at this point, I have no idea. I can rest easy, however, knowing that all my friends have opened up. To anyone view my memories, I have no doubt. You know we're good people. I can't even say we're good people caught up in a bad situation. I've truly come to believe that we're doing the right thing. We may not destroy Argus, but they need a reality check. They shouldn't have as tight of a grip on the world as they do. It's immoral. Cypher can rise up and be the first threat to the monopoly of Argus. I look forward to a world full of progress and innovation. It sure beats what we have. But for now, I take a large swig of soda and join the company of my friends. Friends. That's right. But now, we're also agents of Cypher. However, unwittingly.
This is gonna suck. It's gonna be cool, actually. I'll finally get to show you the full extent of my skills.
Putting Kyron in the system wasn't the full extent of your skills?
Not even close.
Now I'm scared.
yeah, now I'm scared.
Don't worry, Dante. You're on my good side. Let's just make sure it stays that way.
Are you gonna tell us what the plan is yet?
I can't. Sorry. I have to wait until the time is right. A lot of this is on a need-to-know basis.
Such a cliche line.
I know. I've always wanted to say it. Must have sounded so cool.
Uh-huh.
Sure, let's go with cool.
Taylor looks worried. I could tell that the fear must be getting to him.
So, what do we do in the meantime?
Taylor's having that panic attack, guys.
Well, tomorrow is gonna change everything. It's the last time we might get to do this.
What do you mean by this?
We won't really know until tomorrow. It was kind of an abstract statement.
He just means the status quo is going to change.
Hopefully for the better.
Hopefully.
Of course. I have this down to a science. So how about we celebrate instead of worrying?
Let's do a bit of both, actually.
Sure, makes sense to me. We want to look back on this as a happy time.
Speaking of looking back,
Oh, you talked to Delta too?
I guess I wasn't the only one.
We talked about what exactly?
Oh, right, we did talk about, the future nostalgia technology with Kyron. Well, because he's his hero, so it doesn't really matter. And we, usually just, like, we spent, like, half the fragment, half the heart-to-heart, to just making out.
the past.
Oh, well, in that case, me too.
It's always important to look back before looking forward.
I guess kind
Reminiscing
of.
is always important in the face of change.
Yeah, the past is always set in stone. It's comfortable and familiar.
You know what they say, right? The safety of the past is the greatest treasure that we can never possess.
I guess Argus is aiming to change that.
Just another way to keep us in line. Super cheap booze and a glorified dream machine.
Dream machine. This sounds so dumb.
We're gonna put a dent in that plan, though. Without their monopoly, their control will be limited.
I guess. But we'll always need the system. Competition only introduces lesser evils.
At least there'd be options. Argus can't keep things like this forever, right? If they have sole ownership, then they have sole control.
I guess so. I mean, we might be able to take that control away from them, but at the end of the day, Komorebi trumps everything. We'll never be able to compete with a force like that. Especially when we don't even understand it.
Do you think we ever will?
Doubtful. Especially when it's easier to just run and hide. This nostalgia technology is basically admitting defeat.
But at the end of the day, it's still a new technology. That's kind of exciting, with how stagnant things have been.
Right. We've all become creatures of routine. I remember Isaac saying as much back when I first arrived.
But stagnancy goes hand in hand with control. Can't wait to see what happens when we open the floodgates.
Embracing my metaphor, huh? Nice.
Isaac nods and smirks.
A race with one person is pretty boring, right? They have no reason to push themselves forward. Throw a few more people into the mix, things go haywire. If Cypher wins, then a lot more people will enter the fray. As for what they'll create, I see unlimited potential. Who knows? Maybe we'll even find a way to stop Komorebi.
That's a bit, like, over the top.
You really think so?
I mean, I think anything is possible. But if Komorebi benefits Argus, of course they'd want to keep it around. We won't really know what's possible until more people get a say.
When you put it like that, I'm kind of excited.
How do you stop visions of the future, though? Aren't you stuck with them, even if you defy them?
I remember talking about that on the way to the nightclub. If you defy your vision, you still experience it all the time. In my mind, that changed the very nature of visions to begin with. What if they aren't visions of the future?
I'd have to ask you to elaborate.
Well, it's only the future from your perspective.
Who else's perspective is there?
Mine. Your future self.
Okay, now you're losing me.
To your future self, it'd be a vision of the past. You only call it the future because of the side you're on right now.
I guess that makes sense. But what does it change?
You plan to defy your visions and stay friends, right?
Ideally, yeah.
Then it won't always be a vision of the future. Eventually, it becomes a vision of an alternate past.
Does that really change anything, though?
Yeah, it does.
How so?
Right now, we're trapped on one side of our visions, the side where we see it as our future and nothing else. But Delta is right. When
I
I
am.
move past the point in my vision, it'll just be an echo. Some weird memory of a past that never was. And for some reason, I think that's comforting. I feel a bit more free when I think about it that way.
I guess that's the power of perspective. Alternate lives is a pretty common theory, too.
Okay, so they're just visions then. Doesn't change how intrusive they are. I hate mine, no matter when it comes from.
At least it might not come true. It's better to stay a vision than become reality.
I guess.
Okay, this is starting to make my head hurt. But if it means I might not be on a colony in the future, then I'll take it. Any bit of hope is better than what I have right now.
This is make my head hurt.
What if we want our vision to come true, though?
I guess that's when this turns into a double-edged sword. Your comfort can just be someone else's worry.
Where does the alternate past come from then? It feels way too real to just be a possibility.
That's the question that the end of this conversation lingers on. Future or past, the visions had to come from somewhere. Another reality? Another timeline? Who knows? That's an interesting thing to think about, though. If Komorebi was the echo of another life, does that mean this was my first? I had no echo to witness after all. Could this life just become the Komorebi of another me? Maybe another version of me was witnessing this moment right now. In the hotel room, with friends, about to infiltrate Argus HQ and oppose him. If that was the vision I had as a kid, I'd probably do anything to oppose it. After all, I would see no merit in going against the powers that basically govern our world. So, in this exact moment, I finally feel happy and content with my lack of a vision. I truly live my life for me, not to avoid anything, not to pursue it either. Because if I had a vision, I might not even be here right now. But after everything I've experienced, I know one thing. This is where I was meant to be. And I got here with the ability to call all my choices my own. I didn't follow a vision. No invisible hand guided me down this path. And hopefully, one day, this kind of life will be the norm. That's it. That's all the fragments. This one here is the finale.
Experience culmination fragment. Hermes Day.
Hermes Day. That's going to be in the next episode. And probably the last episode. And I'm sad about it. Because I love the characters so much. But, yeah. The last upload for Hermes Day and Komorebi. I'm excited. I'm excited what Isaac has up his sleeve. And hopefully the ending turns out good in our favor. And nothing bad happens. But yeah, I'll see you all guys in the next episode. And yeah, this is my file so far. 16 hours, 31 minutes, and 13 seconds. Now changed to 17 hours, 20 minutes, and 29 seconds. So, I'll see you all guys.